if they want to.
And welcome to Let Them Talk. I'm Paul DiRienzo, and we have a great show in store for you. I want to welcome both my guests. On my right is Sharon Cans. Welcome.
Hey.
On my left, Yvonne Dennis.
Hi,
and
thanks.
they're from an organization called Nichin, which is the Lenape word, and they'll explain that to you in a minute, for children. And it deals with Native American children here in New York and creating a sense of community. And we are surrounded. We have lots of material to show tonight, which I love, and which is great. I have like the most comfortable seat in the house. I'm sitting on a Navajo blanket. It's beautiful, isn't it?
So rugged.
This isn't even America Roadshow or anything like that. This is like just us having fun. And this is, I love this. This is interesting.
A contemporary take on a button blanket, a Clinket button blanket.
Beautiful.
That one of the kids in our program.
You'll explain that to us in a minute. And a painting. What is the painting?
Well, this is Corn Woman, because corn is very important in our community. And the devastation this particular woman has experienced, by European invasions.
Okay, we'll be talking more about that. I know. Geez, being half Italian, I was raised that Christopher Columbus was the greatest guy in the world, right? It was such a shock to me.
You've been
to find
talking to
out.
the wrong Italians.
I know. Well, now I know better, but you're always sort of fed that when you're a kid,
Sure.
sometimes, unfortunately. So tell us, Yvonne, about Nichin and what exactly it is that you do. Where is it located, and what does it do?
Well, our office used to be on 155th Street in the historic Church of the Intercessions. And now our office is on 107th Street, and we're looking for a bigger office. But we came out of the Native American Education Program, which was part of the Board of Education, federally funded to work with Native students in New York City public schools. And that program was Bobby Kennedy. He was very, he listened to Native people, and he started a commission on Indian education, because every American Indian treaty has an education clause in it. Yeah, our kids have the highest dropout rate, and so on. So anyway, this commission was started, and then, he was assassinated. So his brother Ted took it over, and what they came up with, which was no surprise to we Native people, is that Native children do well in school if they can culturally relate to the curriculum. So when you grow up, in the textbooks, when the textbooks are saying that all Indian people are dead or savages, there's not a whole lot of connection there. And so funds became available for any city, any town, any education association, like in New York, the Department of Education, who had at least 10 Native students could apply for the federal funds. So it was for enrichment and to help kids stay in school. And it was very successful. And I'm going to stop here for a second, because I want to let Sharon talk about her daughter and her part. Her daughter went through our Native American education program.
Oh, wonderful. Yes, tell us about that, about your experience with this program.
Okay, my daughter is now 34, so this is many years ago. And it was an opportunity for us to be involved with the Native community in New York City. She has always lived in New York, not I, but she did. And so there's not a residence that's special for Native Americans like the Italian neighborhood, and so on and so forth. So what we found was that it was very difficult to meet Native American children. And I went to the community house, and through them, I found out about Nichin, and which was it wasn't Nichin back in those days, but we started going to this public school on 107th Street, where it was located at the time. And she was able to be introduced to the history, the culture, and a little bit of language, So she has grown up, and she now reads on her own, and she's just inundated with all kinds of things that, come from our community. And I'm just very proud of that fact.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was
so
going to
we
ask.
also did a lot of advocacy work where we found that a lot of Native children were put in special ed classes. It was unwarranted. So we did a lot of advocacy work. We, whatever it was. And then we found that, and I worked there. I was the resource director. And we began to discover that there were lots of other ways that we needed to help kids. It's one thing to be able to, get A's, to have your teacher be sensitive to your culture, but first you have to get to school. You have to have proper nutrition, the family issues have to be dealt with, and we as a community deal a lot with what we call post-colonial stress syndrome. So we relive the 500 years of oppression because it was never allowed to be healed because all of our rituals, and every culture has grief rituals, ours, we were not allowed to practice any of ours till 1978. So there was some funding available through the State Office of Mental Health Family Programs, and we decided to apply for it. We were also very alarmed because at that time the National Institutes of Health wanted to start testing inner city kids, wanted to start drugging them because they said inner city kids breed violence, and that was not our perspective,
And by
of
drugging
course.
you mean Ritalin and that kind of
Prozac,
thing, right?
So
Prozac as well.
Right. So we
my God.
thought, we have in our history, in our legacy, we have all the answers to any issue that we have to deal with today. So it was to have a connection and to do it holistically. And so what we did is we got the funding to have this preventative, holistic mental health program.
Right.
And we offered families, and of course we knew the families because they were all Native Ed families. So we offered them, we gave them a supermarket. So instead of, okay, so we didn't care. We didn't care what they decided to take, like all the things that we have around. I'm jumping around.
Yeah,
here.
I know. That's why we have so many things that I want to go through some of the visuals. Like, what do we have here?
Like this is a drum.
Thank you.
Well,
it's very interesting, all the things you're telling us. And I want to take, because I'm letting you go on, because this is a fascinating story about education and about teaching and reaching out and building a successful model that helps children. I mean, to me, that's so important in New York as a teacher myself, that what you're talking about is crucial. How can people learn more about it?
Well, we're going to hold up our banner so we can get our numbers.
May.
We need lots of help. We need help with fundraising. We need help negotiating. This is not exactly an Indian friendly place. But in our program, what we wanted to do, we had to have a hook because there are lots of programs. What made ours different? Well, for instance, one of our workshops was siblings without rivalry. We had a Native person teach it, a Native psychologist, how we get along with our brothers and sisters. So that's something that, oh God, I got to go sit and hear that. Well, all of our workshops were intergenerational, and of course intertribal. But if you come, then you can get to make a drum,
Okay,
or
cool.
you can learn how to do finger weaving.
Wow, can I hit on this drum?
Sure.
Can I beat on it?
It's out of tune.
It's out of
you
tune,
can
but it's still beautiful.
My son made it, and my son is almost as old as Sharon, so he made it when he was like 12.
Wow.
This is actually a 6-year-old made. It was a puppet. We wrote plays, we wrote our puppets, and it was all about expressing yourself. So every child from 5 to 18 made a puppet and wrote a show and got each other's involved. But it was to express their feelings.
Who is this puppet?
I don't know who this one was, but it had something to do with horses. And this girl is now in college and studying equinology. So she's always been interested in horses.
She loved horses, right?
And
so it's using art and culture and using one's own art and culture to create a sense of connection to a people.
Yes, but it's also to do the work on ourselves, to heal all the unresolved grief that we've had, to heal it.
Yeah.
May I also state that even though it started out with the Board of Education, and as I said, my daughter went through the cultural and historical aspects of the program, which were very useful to us. But in addition to that, today, we have now expanded to community centers and civic organizations, and they can come, they can, get the information about our, which Yvonne will show the banner, which our phone number.
Let's hold up the banner right now.
Will be attached.
We can do that now. Hold it, pick it up, and I'll help you hold it up.
This
and folks can see.
We
We'll
have a
here.
cultural center.
This is great.
And we have presentations. They
Yes.
come for school groups. And then,
Great.
as Sharon was saying, we work with any organization. Could be a university, could be a school, could be a community center. But we will help you out there in television land. We will help you
Around the
teach your people, your members, the correct history and heritage of Native people. It's one of the ways we do fundraising.
And there's a small fee attached to it. We look at the organization and we work out, what the fee is per how many students you bring in. Schools are now presently bringing children to our to the Intercession Church, and we have a puppet show, which we do Lenape culture and history and a little bit of language. It's very very cute.
And a puppet show is part of it. And there we also address Native issues. So we have one of our master puppeteer is Native Hawaiian, so he teaches a hula to the children and storytelling, and we deal with stereotypes. So
is this solely Native children?
No, our cultural center, anyone can come. And we encourage it because our feeling is that our Native kids are in school with all these other children. And so we all need to understand Native history so that our kids can have a better school experience.
Let me ask now, you mentioned Lenape a couple of times, and maybe people know, I happen to know Lenape is a Native nation that lived in the region we call Mannahatta, right? They call it Mannahatta probably. And tell us a little bit, are you in Lenape?
No, I'm Abenaki and Cherokee.
Abenaki and Cherokee.
And I do have I am Cherokee and Sandhill, and the Sandhills are a combination of Cherokee and Lenape. The Lenape people gave the Cherokee people refuge, and starting in the 1700s until 1920, I think.
Right.
So people came north.
The Lenape, descendants of the Lenape people still exist and are.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
Right.
And in fact, right now, that's one thing that your viewers might not know is that there are thousands and thousands of Native people in New York City. And the census says, I think, 80,000, but that's probably more like 150. And that's just United States Indians. That doesn't count Native people from Colombia, from,
the Andes, Peru,
Mexico,
Central America, Mexico,
exactly,
right, sure.
the islands. And we have all this rich, rich culture here. And so you could go to 5 or 6 Native events in a day, and they would all be different because we have from the Arctic Circle down to the, it's almost Antarctica to as far south as people can live.
Folks in the Arctic Circle will be, happy today, right? It's a beautiful day.
Or maybe they moved here to get away from it. They might say, "Oh no,
Right.
I thought I was going to get away."
So New York has it's a rich history, Native history. People don't realize going back thousands of years. It has today a present population of many thousands of Native people from all over the Western Hemisphere who live in New York because it's a great city with millions of people. And you guys are doing your best to create a community. Now, in the school system, before your organization came around, what if you were a Native child? You just had
nothing.
to. You had nothing. You just had to watch
Right.
The Duke John Wayne and swallow it.
May I speak to that? Because my daughter was in 4th grade, and this is when I sought Nishan out. She had a school teacher, and she said, and she was teaching allegedly Indian history, and she told the class that everybody was in teepees. There's nothing wrong with teepees; they were very functional. However, having said that, common sense should have told her you couldn't live in certain regions and live in a teepee. So I brought a book on, housing from different regions of the country, and she seemed very agitated, to say the very least, for her. But at any rate, for that class, they got corrected. The bottom line is it wasn't taught. Beyond that, she never heard the word.
And people didn't, as you showed, the teachers even had incomplete knowledge of what was happening, often stereotypical knowledge that you get half from the movies and half from a poor education yourself, coming up, and teachers who didn't know anything about it themselves, and John Wayne. And how do you deal with, because, everybody loves sports almost, young people love sports. I mean, when you have a team called the Washington Redskins.
I don't even say that word.
I know, I'm sorry to say it, but it's
so offensive. I mean, we wouldn't say the San Francisco Hunkies or the...
For sure.
It's like saying all the worst words that you could call a people. And the thing of it is, we want our children, we raise adults, not children, but to be able to struggle with this and to be able to say, no, we would like to see the United States be inclusive for all people, and for every child to feel safe and to also to learn about each other. The Washington Redskins is just, there I go, I said it, I'm going to beat myself up now, but it is just a horrible, horrible word. And
it's a horrible history. I was reading a little bit about the history. The person was the Washington team was the last team to allow black players.
Right.
In 1962, before they allowed...
And also, the name, the Redskins, if you look through some of the old documents, they, when they would put bounties on Native people's heads, and we didn't start the scalping, by the way, but they would pay for them to bring Redskins back. And of course, nobody was really red-skinned, but they would pay to bring it back. I
wonder about that, too, because you would hear that.
People came and were all colors, know.
Of course.
But the Native American education program, which Nietzsche grew out of, no longer exists. And we would like to get that back. So if there are parents out there, call our number.
To it? How did you lose it?
Well, we didn't. The Board of Ed did, and we've been trying to get it back. And we hope with this new administration, they'll be more open to it.
Why did the Board of Ed close this down?
I don't think they closed it down. I think that the federal... I had left by that point, and I think that the federal government took back the money because the administration was probably not doing the right paperwork. I'm not, there. I could say, but no, before that.
Before that,
and I don't really want to dwell on it because I don't know if anyone really knows the answer, but I know that the Office of Indian Programs would like to get a program back here because New York City has the largest Native population of any city.
So this is a message to the new mayor, right?
Yes.
This
Mayor
is
de
a great
Blasio.
message to the mayor.
I hope you're listening.
I hope so too, because you seem like you really care about people, and we are. We vote, and we're people. We need care. We need people to care for us too.
And what should the mayor do if he's watching this and he's moved to doing something?
Call us up.
Should we hold up
yes,
we can hold up the number once more for folks to see Mr. Mayor?
Hold. Here we go.
All right.
It's 646-330-2125. That's 646-330-2125. And our email is cccona.center@gmail.com. That's Kokona .center@gmail.com. I'm looking at this because I have a different email I use. Right. And then our website is Children's Cultural Center of NativeAmerica.org. But if you just Google in Children's Cultural Center of Native America, it will come up.
There you go. Great. Wonderful. So, Mr. Mayor, you have your duty ahead to help Native people, thousands and thousands of Native people, the first peoples of the Americas, the people who we displaced in order to make a very comfortable life for ourselves on this continent. And it's, I think, time for some reparations,
Yes.
without a doubt.
And we would like to talk about, just quickly, our Nichin is an umbrella organization.
Sure.
And we have, as Sharon brought up, we have our Children's Cultural Center of Native America, which is for everyone. We have our cadre of experts who can help different organizations have a Native program or have an inclusive program that includes us. And we also have our Family Awareness Network. It's or FAN, we call it FAN, the dance fan that we use when we dance.
Okay.
So it's just kind of a clever play on words. But the Family Awareness Network, which was for families, Native families who had children who were at risk. And we decided to look for funding in other places than where our funding was coming from, because we believe in a social model, and it was moved to a medical model, social work terms. But anyway, our philosophy is
I'm glad somebody knows what they're doing and is on this.
Well, our philosophy, is harm reduction,
Excellent.
and holding people
so
on
is
the
mine
path.
as well.
Yes, and we just don't want to be drugging kids.
Right.
I'm not saying there's never a place for that, but in our philosophy, we feel it's the last stop on the train, not the first.
Yeah, no, I was an elementary school teacher, and it's always the first, unfortunately, and it shouldn't be.
And then
Sharon Cans on my right here, and Yvonne Dennis. I just want to reintroduce you guys from Nietzsche, which means children.
Nichin.
Nichin,
Which
not the
means
philosopher.
our children.
Right, our children, the Lenape language, the first New Yorkers. And we're talking about this program, this fascinating program of bringing Indian Nations culture, First Nations culture to the youth of New York, and to unite and bring together all the Native children here to give them a feeling of community, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
Thank you. And thank you for having us.
Right. Well, now we have a few more minutes, but you have some pictures here. And
I do. And I just want to quickly say that we also have our Women's Power Time Circle, which started out as a way for our moms and girls to heal. And now we do a lot of writing and journaling, and now we have reached out to other women. So we have women of all backgrounds who are part of our group.
This is great.
And we
in
also
Native culture, women have always, been in a leadership role.
That's right.
Which is
thank you for knowing that. That's
and which is unfortunately not true of the European model.
No.
And something we could learn from
yes,
people.
Well, the babies of the planet.
We came here to instruct you guys, and you guys have to instruct us.
That's right.
That's what it comes
in. And we also have a program that we are not doing right now, but called Fun with Fabrics, and it's where anybody can come. It's an artist collective, and they just bring whatever they want, and so people can trade. Can trade there. Like if someone knows how to crochet, someone who knows beadwork. It's just a community, like an old-fashioned quilting fest.
Fun.
But I brought
Sounds
some
like
pictures
fun.
of different. We've had many different activities over the years. I don't know if you can even
sure. I think we're fine.
see,
Yeah, we are great.
see
You're a
this,
great
like
engineer.
kids. We every year we used to have a retreat where we would bring in a medicine person from many different nations. Every year is different because we are so intertribal. And these are just, these are from some of the retreats, and we just all go together
Mass
to a
making
rural.
over here, beautiful kids.
Well,
over there.
actually, that is, we don't really believe in mass making teachers out there because mass have a lot of power, so we don't do that. But this was making a mask to, if you could find your power place in the forest, where would it be? How would you hide yourself? How would you blend in? How would you blend in with your environment? So that's what that was about. We do a lot of here's people out on the boat.
Beautiful.
A lot of expressing.
And these are kids from the city going out in the country now,
Yes.
and wonderful. And
Yes.
and getting in a boat and paddling around.
And it's
Great.
funny
Wonderful.
because two of us were at a retreat one time, and the two of us grew up in a very rural area, two facilitators.
Sure.
And there was a snake inside one of the cabins. And the two rural Indians go screaming into the night. And the one kid who grew up in the Bronx, she gets the snake and puts it outside.
And what are these are? Oh, that's beautiful.
Yes.
And what do we have? What's happening here in these pictures? We were just watching.
Let me see. This is from a powwow. These are actually Taino people dancing.
From Puerto Rico, right? Today's Puerto Rico.
Well, yeah, and the Dominican Republic. And these are other, kids at powwows. I'm looking back. Some of these kids are really, grown up. She's one of our elders who's Apache.
And these are the different programs you've done. This is the results of the work you've done.
Right.
These
We also, as part, I want to show this quickly, as part of our fundraising, we have a program with Native prisoners in South Dakota. So they make items for us to sell to raise money for our kids, and then their kids benefit.
I see.
I don't know if you'll be able to see. You can take this out if you want this doll, but we have all kinds of
Well,
things.
it's wrapped. I can unwrap it, or is that
Sure.
all right? If we have a minute here.
We have beautiful.
Not a big
Do you
unwrapper.
have earrings on from them? I'm
no.
not sure.
No.
Okay, we have beautiful
Oh, what a beautiful doll. See, here it
jewelry.
is.
Isn't that exquisite?
Yeah.
So this is a real collector's item. And so it helps on many levels. It helps people get out of the prison culture that so many minority people are thrust into in this society. And it,
Okay, we only have half a minute, so
Okay.
what do we have here to show us?
Oh,
Beautiful,
it's
yeah.
just some of the things that we sell at our gift shop and online. And our
Beautiful.
parents make things to sell.
All right, this is all like handmade by the people. All right, well, thank you very much, Sharon Cans.
Thank you.
All right, and Yvonne Dennis, thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for joining us. We've been talking about a very interesting and important program, and we hope folks can stay in
Yes.
touch. Here's the information. The last
And
2
as
seconds.
Sharon said, we need help with our fundraising, and
And we need community centers and schools, people with children. Bring them in.
yeah, let's tell the truth.